Alright, we have some great news about Tesla in Europe. So Tesla Model 3 will come with a CCS plug in Europe only for now. And also the Superchargers will be retrofitted with a CCS plug so the Model 3 can charge there. And also Model S and X will get a CCS adapter so they can charge on CCS plug via the CCS plug. And the price for the adapter should be about the same as the Chademo adapter today. Model S and X until now, you see that they have a modified Type 2 plug, which is normally the Type 2 plug will allow you to charge on AC on this slower charging speed. Whereas if you want a fast charge, you have to use either Chademo, that's a different standard, or the CCS like N in the lower there. So it's been working great for now, but then for Model 3, Tesla has decided that they will fit the car with a CCS plug, just like most other EVs on the market nowadays. And we don't know yet how it's going to be because Model 3, I've seen videos that it has been able, it's possible to charge a Model 3 at 117 kilowatts. And that is a problem if you want to use the old standard of CCS, because the CCS 1 standard says that you can only charge up until 200 amp. And because of the voltage of the battery pack, usually when you are able to output 200 amp is also where the voltage is lower. So practically it means that you won't get more than about 74 kilowatt if it uses CCS 1 standard. So that makes no sense. Model 3 should use the CCS 2, which means up until 500 amp, or in theory about 185 kilowatt. But again, Model 3 can't take that high power. So we don't know for sure, of course, but that's the only logical way to do it, so that Model 3 will support CCS 2. And also, today's Superchargers, they have this modified Type 2 cable where it will output DC and also AC. And most other EVs, they can't get any juice from all the other EVs can't charge on Superchargers, and Model 3 can't charge on that plug either. So Tesla will have to retrofit all the Superchargers with a dedicated CCS cable, and which will allow Model 3 to charge there. They say that they will prioritize the most busy Supercharger sites first, and then eventually they will retrofit all the Supercharger sites. And also in the future, every new Supercharger stall will have the CCS and the Type 2, the modified Type 2. And I guess, they didn't say anything about this, but I guess that you can, in one stall, if a Model 3 is charging from that stall, then a Model S and X can't charge on that one. Or actually, I don't know for sure, but that's probably how it works. There's usually not enough space anyway to squeeze in too many cars in there. And I also guess that in the beginning, the Model 3s, if there's no CCS plug installed on a specific Supercharger location, then that one might not even show up on the map where they can, And I also assume that because of how it works with the CCS, the modified CCS plug and all that, Model 3 can't use Chademo or CCS adapter. That's weird, why? Yeah, it won't work because the adapter will transform that DC input into the modified Type 2, basically. And the way I understand it, Model 3 has a standard Type 2 which only accepts AC through it, and then in order to get DC you have to use the lower part. And what about Model S and X? Well, the Supercharger on the Model S and X will be the same as before, and then comes the CCS adapter. I had no idea they were working on this, but it's great news. So again, we don't know for sure how the CCS adapter will be, because I mentioned that for Model 3 it has to be CCS 2, because CCS 2. CCS 1 will be too slow. Then Model 3 will only be able to charge at 74 kilowatt, which is a disaster. it would be RapidGate version 2. Yeah. But we don't know how the adapter would be. So if Tesla took a shortcut, then they will make a CCS adapter that only supports the CCS1 standard. Hopefully, it will be CCS. I just hope it's gotta be CCS2. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster. Like then you will go to one of these HPC, which is a high power charger. You know those 100 plus kilowatt chargers like Ionity or whatever, and you can only get 74 kilowatt. You know, like so. Hopefully, if it's CCS2, then like a Tesla Model S and X will be able to utilize, in theory, up until about 185 kilowatts. So that means they will go to a whatever, let's say they go to Ionity 350 kilowatt fast charger, and they will be able to charge the same speed they would get on a supercharger. So that is great news. That means that Tesla Model S and X and 3 will have outstanding flexibility, just way beyond all the other cars. I will show you shortly. So one question that I suddenly raised was that, what will happen with the Chademo adapter? Like, will people even use the Chademo adapter? Will it be obsolete? Actually, no, because there's still some places where you only have Chademo. And also, well, usually when you have those 50 kilowatt fast chargers, then you can only charge one car at a time, because that charger doesn't simply have enough power to charge two cars simultaneously. But with the HPC, you know, those high power chargers, more than 100 kilowatt, then usually you can charge two cars. Some places they will actually have this depends on the charging like the charging company. Like they can choose to specify that they want two CCS cables, or one CCS and one Chademo, or even two Chademo cables. But the clue is that usually on these HPCs you are allowed to charge two cars simultaneously. They will split the power and something like that. So that means, yes, if you have a Chademo adapter and then someone is actually using the CCS, which is more likely, then you can use the Chademo adapter and still get juice there, and maybe suck some juice from the other car. I don't know about that. And there are some rare cases where the CCS plug is broken, or for some reason the CCS part is not working. Only the Chademo part is working, and then you can still charge it. So, you know, as for me, I will of course buy the CCS plug as soon as possible, and I will still carry around with the Chademo and the CCS plug. But there's one advantage, I think, with the CCS adapter versus the Chademo adapter, is that at some those 50 kilowatt fast charger, I've seen it many places that for some reason the CCS plug is usually labeled to be 125 amp maximum, whereas the Chademo is only 120 amp. I'm not sure why, but hopefully I will get slightly better speed if I use the CCS plug on those 50 kilowatt fast chargers. Because on my Tesla and most other Teslas, you can only get about 48 kilowatt, not 50 kilowatt. And here is a nice big table I just made to show you better the comparison between what charging capabilities you have in various cars. So it's big. Let me try to explain. I try to shorten everything. So CDMO is just a shortage of Chademo. And then I show you the maximum speed, charging speed in kilowatt here. You see that, okay, let's start with the top then. Tesla Model S and X, they are about the same. And you see that it will charge on Supercharger on, well, I said type 2, but it's actually a modified type 2. And it will get maximum 118 kilowatt. And then on those HPC, hopefully we'll be able to get 118 kilowatt on those. But if you use the Chademo adapter and on those chargers, you will only get 50 kilowatt, because the adapter is restricted to maximum 125 amp, which is 50 kilowatt. And then if you use the Chademo adapter on the 50 kilowatt fast charge, you will also be able to get 48 kilowatt, but you can also use the CCS adapter there. But by the way, you also see that on the HPC, I set 50 there as a number, because those HPC can usually output more than 120. Like usually I get 115 to 120 amp on those 50 kilowatt fast chargers, whereas on the HPC, I get more. I get the maximum available. And then, of course, we have the destination charger, the Tesla destination chargers. The classic ones, they support up to 22 kilowatt. I made a video recently about it. And also, so usually those Tesla destination chargers, they have two labels, a red label and a white label. The red label means that that destination charger has been configured to only work with Tesla, whereas the white label will work on any other car out there. So you see, right, so it supports up to 22, and then I also made some columns for one-phase and three-phase charging, and Tesla supports both of them. So Model S and X tops the list with 9 different options to charge from. And then if you take a look at Model 3, similar numbers, but here you see that Supercharger, it has to use a CCS plug. If it tries to use a Type 2, modified Type 2, we won't get any juice. So I wonder how many people will actually use that one by mistake. Yeah, and then don't figure out why they don't get juice. And then on the 100 kilowatt fast charger, or the HPC, should be able to get the maximum speed there. By the way, I have some numbers in red here, which is that we are not sure if we will get this or not. So yeah, the red numbers means untested, unsure. But you see that, okay, so the numbers for Model 3 is similar to Model S and X, but slightly lower on the three-phase charging. Again, maybe I should have labeled those red, because I'm not entirely sure if we will get 16.5 kilowatt or not in Europe. But you see it has two less options there, because Model 3 cannot use the Chademo adapter. So it gets only 9 options. And then you see e-tron, again, red number, we don't know how much it will support. It just says on paper 150 kilowatt. Most likely it will be lower than that, because we have seen it already. iPace, they say it supports 100 kilowatt, but for now we have, like, the highest number we have seen so far is 84 kilowatt. But of course this number could change. And you see that at least e-tron supports three-phase up until 22 kilowatt, which is good, whereas the other cars, like iPace and EQC, only supports one-phase charging. Yeah, I did a mistake in an earlier video. I claimed that EQC supports three-phase 22 kilowatt, but that is incorrect. And I also mentioned some other cars here, like Kona and e-Niro. So far, we have only been able to get maximum 74 kilowatt. So maybe that number should have been red also, because we don't know for sure if Niro and Kona supports the CCS2 plug or not. Like, I haven't been able to take a Niro or a Kona. Well, Niro is not out yet, but Kona is out. But I haven't been able to take it to one of those HPCs, like the one in Rødekro, which has a CCS2 cable, because then we can see whether it will get higher speed or not. So yeah, I will do that if Hyundai can lend me a car, and I will do it. That's the closest the HPT with a CCS2 water-cooled cable. Yeah, closest to Oslo for now. Well, actually, there's one more in Kristinehamn in Sweden. Maybe I can go over there. Yeah, there's a new. But I'm okay. Off topic. I also mentioned Ioniq. Ioniq will support the HPC. It's been supporting it for a while. And then Ampere E also supports, slightly faster speed, but you see, you can't utilize too much of it, and also the speed drops, tapers off very quickly. And I should also mention Kia Soul. But on paper, it supports 100 kilowatt fast charger, but via Chademo. And I don't know how much. I just said 70. It could be more, because Ioniq supports up to 70. So this is untested territory. Maybe I should test it one day. And I also mentioned the new Leaf, 60 kilowatt hour Leaf. We have seen it on some leak images that it charged at whooping 102 kilowatt on Chademo. That sounds very promising. And also, well, again, I don't know if it will support three-phase. Most likely not, otherwise they would have mentioned it somewhere. And then it's also worth mentioning BMW i3, the 33 kilowatt hour. It supports three-phase. That's good. But not like HPC. So you see that, yes, these cars will also be able to charge on HPC, but they won't utilize more than 50 kilowatt. And the Golf, well, I also have to test this, but in theory, the Golf on HPC should be able to receive 50 kilowatt. Again, it depends how many amps it will be able to take, because you see on the 50 kilowatt fast chargers, you only get 42 kilowatt maximum, because the nominal voltage on Golf is lower than most other cars, and because we are limited to maximum 120, 125 amp, then you get only 42 kilowatt. But I think it says somewhere in the spec that it supports 50 kilowatt. So maybe if we plug the e-Golf in HPC, and let's say it outputs 150 amp, then you will get 50 kilowatt. Yeah, I haven't done the math now. And then last car I mentioned here is Renault Zoe, which doesn't support DC fast charging at all, only AC. Yeah, I call it slow charging. I'm gonna lose a bunch of subscribers now. People are gonna protest. No, Zoe can fast charge. Yeah. One thing worth mentioning here is that the AC slow charging here is the charging speed before charging loss. So 22 kilowatt or 7.4 kilowatt is just the gross, like the gross power. The net power into the battery is usually about 10% lower, about 6.6 kilowatt or 19 kilowatt. I should also talk a little bit about pricing, because you know, why would you charge on the other networks if you can charge on Supercharger? Well, it's about flexibility. You know, sometimes it's inconvenient to take a detour to go to a Supercharger. So and also you have to, of course, consider the trade-off between wasting your time to go take a detour to a Supercharger versus just taking a fast charger HPC on your route. Most cases, it's better to just take that whatever on your route instead of having to take detour. But Supercharger is always going to be cheapest, even if you have to pay for it. Of course, if it's free supercharging, that's great. But even if you have to pay, it's usually 2-3 times cheaper than those other charging networks. Well, except for maybe Ionity, because Ionity, for now, they have this introduction price where you pay 80 NOK or 80 Danish kroner, 80 Swedish kroner, or 8 euros or 8, I guess 8 pounds. You know, the number 8 maybe is a lucky number, but this is only an introduction price. So you only pay one price to start a charging session, and then you can charge as long as you like. But I guess eventually Ionity will change it to a regular, like per minute based pricing. So don't count on this too long. And well, I heard this many times from various non-Tesla owners, is that when we Tesla people charge on your charging network, they're gonna be like, we don't want you here. You know, you have your own good goddamn charging networks. Good, you think you are so much better than everyone else, and you have the Supercharger network. Why do you have to come and charge on our network? Well, you know, it's the paying customer is a valid customer. So as long as we have to pay for it, then everyone has the right to charge on Ionity or Fortum or whatever network you have out there. You know, so you know, is it any difference if, let's say, I drive a Tesla and I charge at the Ionity charger, or if I drive a Golf and then I charge at the Ionity charger, right? It shouldn't make a difference. Okay, if I drive a Tesla, then the Tesla costs 3 times more than a Golf. So, but that is a different topic. That is, what do you call it? Envious. People are just envious about your car, and then they don't like. I've seen this in the i3 group. I hang out in the i3 group. Every time there's something about Tesla mentioned there, then I see a general hate towards, or like well, maybe not hate, but you know, you get what I mean. You know, the people, I saw comments like, why do these Teslas, they have such big batteries? Why do they have to charge here? You know, well, maybe they need the juice, just like you need the juice. So, you know, don't be an EV racist. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And by the way, I've also seen in the past Ampere E has been out for a while, and also Kona has been out now for a little while. And those guys, when they charge on 50 kilowatt fast chargers, there's no one, you know, posting pictures or whatever, or saying anything to them that, what are you guys doing here? You know, you have a big battery. You don't have to fast charge it. Go somewhere else. No, no, no. I guess because those cars are not too expensive. So at least those guys don't get any hate. But Tesla guys, well, we don't know. But at least when Model 3 comes out, then Model 3 should be similar price to like e-Golf i3 or e-Niro, Kona. Yeah, so at least they can't say that, oh, you have very expensive cars, so we don't want you here. But I mean, keep in mind that every customer that uses whatever charging network, they are helping, they are using the service, and they are paying customers. So more customers usually means that you get better service and you get more expansion, because the reason why Fortum or Ionity or whatever charging network out there is not expanding massively is because they don't have enough customers right now. They are waiting for more iPace, more EQC or e-tron, whatever car that can use those HPCs out there. They don't want to just expand and sit there and wait for customers. They want to wait for more and more, and that means that if you suddenly have Model 3 and Model SX that can also charge on those networks, we will get more chargers. It's a win-win for everyone, right? Right? And what about? I mentioned that Tesla, in order for Model 3 to charge on the supercharger, the existing superchargers, Tesla will have to add another cable for Model 3, a CCS cable. So what if you bring an Ioniq there or a Kona and you plug it in? Will you get juice? No, you won't, because this is what I'm guessing. There will be some kind of like handshake, some wind check, and then they say, no, Tesla, sorry, Mac, and then you won't get any juice. So no soup for you. Yeah. So it won't work. Most likely, it won't work. That's my guess. But it also means that by doing this, Tesla is like gearing up for opening up the network for other people. I mean, for other EVs, right? So it's not like I'm not sure what Tesla's agenda is, but at least they did this primarily for Model 3. But another bonus is that it's much easier than in the future to open up for other cars to charge there. Yeah, and then suddenly the Tesla people, the Tesla fanboys, be like, no, but we don't want you guys, you iPace or whatever. Like I don't want the slow charging Ampere E to be occupying a supercharger stall. Well, then we have the same problem like I just mentioned, that the other EVs don't want Tesla people in their network, and then Tesla people don't want the other EVs on their network. How about we become friends and we let people charge? Because also keep in mind that if, for instance, Jaguar wants to charge on the supercharger, then they probably have to pay a hefty fee to be able to access it. And that means more money to Tesla. That means Tesla can expand, but like we've seen before, solid proof many times, Tesla can expand and add lots and lots of superchargers stalls, either in new locations or existing locations. So I think it's a win-win for everyone. So this is great news. I can't wait to start testing out the CCS adapters and check out Model 3 in Europe. So yeah. But anyway, it's a long video. Let's just stop here. Yeah, let the comments begin. So thank you guys for watching. Let's have happy hours. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and talk to you later.